Hi everyone, this is Alea from the Third Era Classroom, and today I have prepared a lesson about my favourite film of all time, The NeverEnding Story. Now, I've seen several posts recently that speak about The NeverEnding Story and how it has a spiritual meaning, almost like a spiritual blueprint throughout the film, of what certain individuals are actually here to do in this time. So it links in with the spiritual awakening. So I've attempted to put a presentation together to speak about the spiritual awakening, but using the NeverEnding Story as a means to attempt to visualize the spiritual awakening, which we experience ourselves, we experience it internally. It's a frequency shift that happens inside of us. So the NeverEnding Story. Chosen souls are characters in the NeverEnding Story of spiritual evolution. So I don't know about anybody else, but I'm certainly not the same as I was 7 years ago, for example. A lot has happened in the world in the last 7 years, but also we have evolved spiritually and also in terms of knowledge and what we now understand to be true. During each age, so we're now entering into the third age, which is why the Third Era Classroom is called the Third Era Classroom. I'm going to do a short lesson on the 3 separate eras as well. So during each age, a chosen soul will awaken to remember who they are spiritually. Not physically, so not your persona, not your, I'm a teacher, I'm a fireman, I'm a counsellor, I'm an MP. So that's a persona, that's an actor on the world stage. I'm talking about spiritually, who we were divinely created to be. That special spiritual mission that we're here to fulfill. So their mission is to speak creativity into existence. Imagination is the breath of creation. What we're noticing in the matrix, the outside world, everything is becoming very fast-paced, even more so, and a lot of fear, a lot of lower vibrations being put out into the collective. And it's our job to raise the vibrations of the collective and counteract the pre-programming that is going on in the matrix to keep the people suppressed and controllable. Because when you are in lower vibrations, such as fear, you're easily made dependent on the system, which is what we've seen over the past few years. The spiritual journey that has no finish line. I've been waiting for the finish line, and I have come to the realization that we are creating this reality. We are co-creators, and there's no finish line. We're not going to wake up one day and say, okay, all the truth that we've all been speaking about has been revealed and everybody is awake. I think what we have to start realizing is there are 2 separate realities. There's those who have woken up to the reality of the world that we live in, and there's those that are still playing their part in it. And it's not that one is better than the other, or one is on a hierarchical scale above another at all. It is just that certain souls have incarnated here to teach the 3D realm, or those that are still operational within the matrix. They are masters of the 3D matrix. And we've been students for many, many years. Mine's 40. I've been here 40 years. And over the last 7 years, I've woken up to who I am here, and that I'm actually a spiritual teacher. So I've been a primary school teacher for 13 years in the physical. But then when 2020 came, I was redirected by the divine, with a little help from the Church of England, into my new role of a spiritual teacher to help those that are awakening or have awoken to the new earth and the new reality and our missions that we're here to fulfill. So The NeverEnding Story was my favourite movie. And I'm going to focus this first lesson on that tale because of the signs and symbols that mirror from this film into my own life journey. This tale was a spiritual blueprint of a spiritual battle which happens as we enter the dark night of the soul, leading to a spiritual rebirth. I went from being Lindsay, the primary school teacher, to Alea Lindsay Dawn, the spiritual teacher. So that it was a real change that happened to me when I went through the dark night of the soul shortly after lockdowns began. So this tale was a spiritual blueprint of the spiritual battle, which happens as we enter the dark night of the soul, leading to the spiritual rebirth, also recognised as the pineal gland activation, or also better known as ascension. So the main character, Sebastian, in the NeverEnding Story, his journey through Fantasia symbolised the spiritual awakening of those chosen to lead the way into the new earth of expanded consciousness. Those with eyes to see and ears to hear, as the Bible describes. The chosen souls will battle spiritual emptiness, the nothing from consuming the world. And here's 3 scenes from the NeverEnding Story. So first we have Fantasia. I'll just get my cursor. There's Fantasia represents the spiritual realm. The spirit is within and outside. The luminaries, so the moon, sun, stars, planets, they're all luminaries in the heavens. And they're actually, if you look through a telescope, I've done this with Venus, it's not a solid planet that we've been led to believe by NASA. It's actually energy, and you can see energy when you zoom in on the stars. You can get green, you can get red, you can get yellow, blue, and it's just energy moving. It's incredible. So luminaries in the heavens above directly connect with the kingdom of heaven within, the divine spark. So you'll hear people speak about the stars, and we each have a star sign and a birth month. And because we are connected to the stars, that's something that we'll look at separately. The nothing represents fear, apathy, lost faith, and collective amnesia, which can be clearly seen in our world since 2020. The amount of people I speak to that say, oh, well, that was all 5 years ago, let's just get on with life. It's like, no, the world has really changed, much as many are still in denial of that change. The childlike empress represents divine innocence, the Christ frequency reborn within humanity, which many say the return of Christ actually started in 2019, and it is as the earth is rising. The Schumann resonance actually shows that the earth has been spiking. The earth's heartbeat is also known as the Schumann resonance. Again, we'll do a separate lesson on the Schumann resonance. Falkor, my favourite character, the good luck dragon. Falkor represents faith in the unseen, a spiritual, unseen power that elevates the chosen souls when logic says they should fall. Falkor demonstrates the wind of divine timing, showing that the righteous are guided, even through the darkness and despair of the dark night of the soul. Chosen souls ride this same authentic current or highest timeline. It's not luck, it's alignment with divine will, and it makes no sense to the rest of the world often. So if you're somebody who people don't understand, but yet you have an inner knowing that that is your calling, then please stick with it. It's very difficult to go against the tide, especially when the whole world appears to be against you. But that's all for good reason, because if the world was with us, would we actually make the leap of faith? No, I think they've played a part. The world has played a part in helping the separation of the wheat and the tares, as the Bible speaks about. And this is what we're seeing now, a separation of 2 separate realities. And like I said, it's not that one's better than the other. It's just that there has been an energetic shift which has affected the consciousness of many. And that shift will then happen to the great multitude. So more and more people will start to wake up. So it's imperative, it's so important that people who have woken up are getting ready to help their brothers and sisters cross the bridge over. Dragon ley lines, my favourite topic. This is where the white flag papale ley line ministry comes in. So the serpentine currents of the earth's ancient power. Across cultures and centuries, people have sensed that the earth is alive, woven with subtle currents of energy that shape landscapes, sacred sites, and the spiritual experiences of those who walk upon them. Among the most fascinating interpretations of these energies is the concept of dragon ley lines, powerful energetic pathways imagined as the serpentine veins of the planet itself. So they're known as serpentine veins and dragon veins in other cultures, Eastern cultures mainly. I've felt these earth energies, these ley line energies, before I even knew they were earth ley line energies. And I've put that in a book that I'm just in the process of publishing now, of all this new knowledge that's sort of flooded my mind. And I've had to heal from it. I'll be honest with you, in this lesson, I've had to heal from PTSD because of the sudden change from having to go from a classroom where I was a full-time teacher and settled to living on the road, no material resources really, and having this vision and this mission to create this classroom from literally nothing. So I believe all things are possible when you put your mind and your intentions and your energy into it, and it's for the greater good. So what are dragon ley lines? Dragon ley lines are believed to be energetic rivers running through the earth, carrying potent life force or spiritual power. They are called dragon lines because many ancient cultures associated with these invisible currents with serpents, dragons, and other Senius mythical creatures symbolizing vitality, creation, and cosmic power. This is worldview. The earth is not inert but a living organism. It's energy flowing like prana, spirit, fire, so that the earth is a living organism, and we are also living organisms on the earth, and we're intertwined with the earth. Earth is an anagram of heart, vice versa. If you get the letters and mix them up, you will see. And through activities such as grounding, you can actually recalibrate your own energy field. So that's going to be another separate lesson, so I won't diverge onto something else just yet. So these lines act as conduits of that energy, influencing natural formations, sacred sites, and even human consciousness. And this is, you'll hear people speaking about getting downloads, and often these downloads are coming when the people are in nature, connected to source, creation, and the natural elements of the earth. The warrior spirit, the 144,000 spiritual warriors, and the birth of the new earth. So we're going to be talking about the 144,000. There's lots of different theories on who they are or what that is. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the 144,000 now, but just to draw attention to the main character in the actual book, not the film, because that was Sebastian, but in the book we had Atreyu, who represents the warrior spirit of the chosen souls who are brave and courageous enough to face the darkness within themselves and outside of themselves. Those chosen souls who face their own shadow work through humility to overpower the ego mind. These spiritual warriors fight no one. Their battle is internal, because it's very easy to keep distracted by everything in the world and not look at the true self within. That's why many of us, including myself in the past, have acted as a persona, dressed smartly, look like a pillar of the community. But what we're actually seeing now is these masks are beginning to fall, and we're seeing people in high positions of power. I'll draw attention to the Archbishop of the Archbishop of Canterbury from the Church of England, who has recently resigned. So masks have slipped, and misconduct is being brought to the surface now. So it's always best to look inside. This is how we evolve spiritually. If we can be honest and true with ourselves and adjust behavior that may not be in line with our authentic self, and evolve. A new heart and a new spirit. The nothing, so I'll go to this first picture here. The nothing represents the modern world we now live in. Today's nothing resembles endless scrolling, algorithmic hypnosis, false light spirituality, addiction, division, and fear, all lower vibrational frequencies. I'm going to do a separate lesson on emotions, energy in motion, and vibrational frequency, and how we keep our vibrational frequency up. The nothing devours imagination, empathy, and soul purpose. The chosen souls were born with an inbuilt immunity to the nothing, as their hearts are unable to turn to stone. The chosen souls have hearts of flesh. The chosen souls remember who they are, even when the world forgets and rejects them. One of my favourite quotes from the Bible is, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. And that's from Ezekiel 36:26. And it's linked with the real scientific spiritual rebirth that Jesus taught to Nicodemus. So there's real science within the Bible, which I love to sort of take out of theology and put into the science domain, so that more people can start to connect with God's word, with source, with creation, with spirituality, and the new knowledge that's coming forward now. I'm briefly going to touch on abracadabra. Now, my letters that I write to the authorities, many will realise now that the beast system is fully active. And a way that we stop the beast system from taking over, or the nothing from taking over, is by challenging their policies, their systems. So I write to CEOs and management level to communicate where policies are harming the people. So going against God's natural law of do no harm to others. And I start my letters with abracadabra. Now, the church will probably say, oh, that's sorcery, that's wizardry, that's magic wand stuff. But that's not the case at all. Abracadabra means, in Hebrew, I create as I speak. So on my letters, I am creating the change that the system needs in order to help the people. Abracadabra is commonly linked to magic tricks and stage illusions, but its origins run far deeper, rooted in ancient mysticism and esoteric traditions. The word carries a long and intriguing history that reaches back to early civilizations and resonates through Kabbalistic and other occult teachings. The term is widely believed to come from ancient Arabic, written as abracadabra, often translated as I will create as I speak, or I create through the word. This reflects the mystical idea that speech and intention hold the power to shape reality, which is also in the Gospel of Thomas, which was conveniently removed from the scriptures in our canonized Bible. I wonder why. Because the kingdom is within and the power is held within you. Historically, abracadabra served as a potent incantation for healing and protection from misfortune. A little bit more about abracadabra, which can be paused and read, but I'm not going to read too much now. This is just an introduction, so I aim to have this lesson live on a Zoom call with whoever would like to join. The mirror gate, the trial of self. Atreyu faces the mirror gate when he sees his true self reflecting back at him. The chosen souls must face their true reality in order to start their own shadow work. This experience is painful, and many chose not to face their true self and opt to wear a mask to disguise their true identity. That links back with 2020. This is the purpose of the persona. When the spiritual rebirth is complete, the chosen soul will have a new spirit in them as promised in Ezekiel. First, the soul must pass through the dark night of the soul period, which usually takes place in isolation, also known as the wilderness period. That was when mine was most prominent, when I was living in the forest of Wales. That's when I really started to feel different, almost as if I had left a reality and I was creating a new one. When you meet your shadow, you see unhealed wounds and learn that your greatest enemy was never out there. It was within. It's the doubt. It's the limiting beliefs in your own capabilities. Only by balancing shadow and light can the chosen souls unlock their full potential. A message to the chosen ones. At the end of the film, Sebastian saves everything by speaking the Empress's name. He uses the word, the vibration of creation. Chosen souls carry the same divine anointing, the word that manifests reality. When the chosen soul speaks truth, light floods to darkness. All falsehoods are revealed when truth is spoken. The universe shifts when a chosen soul speaks through love, joining thought and emotion, merging the heart and mind. I'm going to look at the power of naming and a collective awakening that is now going on across the earth. Going to be touching on RAS, the reticular activating system, and looking at the parts of the brain and how they operate, and how it's so important that we must filter out negativity and limiting beliefs, because they can manifest through your thoughts and actions and where you channel your energy. So I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to the spiritual lesson. There's going to be more lessons coming forward at the third era classroom. And like I say, I aim to be delivering these lessons to a live class. So I'm going to be looking for people who have experienced the spiritual rebirth, or are starting to awaken spiritually, starting to question the narrative that the world is projecting on the television, and would like to join with us. I don't claim to have the answers. I'm just sharing my evolutionary journey in the hope that it can help others fully awaken and realise that there's support out there, because it was like I said before, it was a lonely process, and I battled PTSD and I overcame. So I see that now as, okay, you're now qualified to share your experience. I've been a teacher, like I said, 13 years, and my aim now is to communicate and teach this new knowledge to help others unite together and really be the change that this world so desperately needs. Thank you, and have a great day.